Hello and welcome. My name is Jenny Dugard. I'm the Human Resources Director with Team Horner Group, and welcome to Navigating the Hiring and Retention Process, Part 1. This is the first webinar in this series, and today's focus will be on hiring and recruiting. I am going to leave some time at the end for questions and answers, so if you're interested in asking a question, please wait until the end, and we do ask that you use the raise your hand feature, and at the end we will get to all those questions. Great, let's get started. We're going to talk about the entire recruiting process today. The what, the when, the where, and the how. We're going to talk about what you're interviewing for. We're going to talk about how you start your search. We're going to talk about what to look for in an application and a resume. And we're hopefully going to get you out of your comfort zone to make sure that you find the best match for your team. And we're also going to talk about some of those costs involved when we hire the wrong person. When there's an open position, you need to ask yourself the 5 W's. Why? Why is this position open? Is it that you're increasing your team and need more people? Are you replacing someone? Who needs to know? Does this person need a computer? Do they need a car? Do they need a cell phone? And if that's the case, are there other people in your company that you need to talk to let them know that there's a new member of your team starting? What is the position and how is it going to be filled? Are we moving somebody in a current role into this open role? Are we going to be looking from the outside? Are we transferring somebody in from a different location? What's your time frame? When do you need this replacement? Do you have a week? Do we have 30 days? Do we have 6 months? Or did you need this person yesterday? And where are you going to find the right person? The very step in this process is a job description. We're going to think about this as a roadmap. A job description allows applicants to understand the responsibilities and duties that are required and expected of them. It is a summary of your company details and cultures, what makes your company unique, what is it that you do, and what is your mission. It's going to go over the essential activities that the employee will be doing. So what is this person being paid to do 40 plus hours a week? And the qualifications and skills needed to be successful. It all starts with a title. Let's call it what it is. Targeted job titles are more accurate than generic or creative ones. So if it is a salesperson that you're hiring, call it a salesperson. If it's an accounting person that you're looking for, let's call it an accounting person. If it's an HR person that you're looking for, let's call it an HR or payroll person. Try to avoid internal lingo that may confuse a job seeker. So if you look at the screen, when a person is looking for a job and they're going onto job sites, they're going to be typing in job titles or keywords that are going to redirect them to those job postings. So if you're calling a position something that is unique to your company that somebody from the outside may not necessarily understand, the chances are that they may never see your posting. So you want to make sure that when you're recruiting externally, you're sticking to titles that somebody from the outside would understand what it is that you're looking for. Your job description should also include company details, your why, your company mission and culture, what makes your company unique, your location, where is this person going to be working? Are they going to be working in Miami? Are they going to be working in Fort Lauderdale? Can they work remote? All of this is important. The benefits you provide your employees. Do they get vacation time? Are there health benefits? Are there fun benefits that are included? Who is this person going to be reporting to? Who is their boss? What team, what department are they a part of? And lastly, salary range. While salary ranges are not required, I strongly recommend that you do include them in your job description and/or your job posting. It will help eliminate people that may be overqualified or will not consider the range that you are offering for that position. The next thing that you will need in a job description is a job summary. Remember that this is a job summary. I cannot stress this enough. You're trying to cover in 3 to 5 sentences, what is the job? Meaning, what is that person going to spend 40 hours doing every week? Why does a candidate want to work for you? And where they will be working. And we want to do this in no more than 3 to 5 sentences. Next, you're going to list duties and responsibilities. You're going to outline the day-to-day activities of the position. Make sure that the list of responsibilities is detailed. You want to emphasize the duties that may be unique to your organization. For example, if you're hiring for a sales role and the position requires social media expertise because you need them to do all of your postings and you want to make sure that they are taking care of your Instagram account, then you want to make, and promoting events, you want to make sure that you're putting those duties in your job description. The next thing in your job description is going to be qualifications and skills. You're going to focus on certifications that may be needed. If you're an HVAC company, does this company need to have certified HVAC technicians? You're going to focus on the knowledge and expertise that is required. Does the person need to have a CPA if they're going to be your controller or your financial person? What technical skills may they need? Do they have to be forklift certified? If they're a driver, do they need to have their CDL license? And then personality traits. Is it a fast-paced environment? Is it somebody that needs to have attention to detail? Is it somebody that doesn't mind speaking to customers? Is it somebody that can work in a fast-paced environment? And this is my first pro tip for you. While you may be tempted to list every single requirement you envision in your ideal hire, including too many qualifications and skills may discourage potential candidates. So you want to focus on the absolutely must-haves and maybe one or two I would like to have, but not the entire list of everything ideally a person may have. The last part of your job description is going to be focused on salary and benefits. It is not a bad idea to include salary in your job description. It is not a requirement, but I strongly recommend that you do so because you will stand out from other employees by being transparent and adding that salary information. You also want to list your top perks and benefits. So think about this as what's in it for the candidate. What are they going to get for coming and working for you? Here's my next pro tip for you. Be creative with what you can offer that most don't. Do you have unlimited PTO? Do you have flexible hours? Are you 100% remote? Do you offer office snacks? Do you provide uniforms or company shirts? Do you have tuition reimbursement? Or are you a dog-friendly office? All of those are fun perks that make you stand out from other companies. Job descriptions are never set in stone. They are a living and breathing document that can always be changed. However, you absolutely need to take the time to make sure that they're accurate. And you need to set precise and concise expectations of what it is that you're looking for. This is the first thing the applicant is going to be looking at before they even talk to you. So the more concise and precise and accurate that you are on your job description, the better chance you're going to have for finding the correct applicants for your position and your job. So now that you have a job description built, what's next? The next thing you should be thinking about is your recruitment strategy. That means posting your job and getting the information out there. And there's two ways that you can accomplish this: internally and externally. Internal postings can provide internal growth for current teammates. It can help promote growth from within, and it can lead to referrals. External postings can provide a fresh perspective, a completely different skill set that you may not necessarily have, and it also opens the door for new beginnings. So, a couple of things I want to talk about when we're considering referrals. Yes, good people often refer good people, but you have to ask yourself, is the person being referred qualified? Do they have everything I need to make that person successful? Are they an immediate family member? Think about, do you have a company policy about relatives working together? Is there an impact on your business if, for example, you have a husband that's already working for you and they refer their wife? Can you afford them both being out at the same time if they decide to go on vacation together? So if you are going to look at family dynamics, I suggest that you also put a plan in place to cover any of those things that may happen. Consider the source. If the person giving you the referral not the best person on your team, do you really want to consider the person that they're referring to? And lastly, what would happen if it doesn't work out? One pro tip for you to consider that a lot of companies are now doing is consider implementing a referral bonus. And referral bonuses can be anything that you want them to be. There is not an industry standard that you can follow. You can have the flexibility to get as creative as you want to be. But my suggestion would be is that you separate the referral bonuses into two pieces and maybe do one at the time that the person is referred and you hire them, and maybe the other portion of the referral bonus after that person maybe hits 90 days or a year with your company. But again, you can have full creativity to set up your referral bonus any way that you want to. These are some of the different posting sites where you can set up your job ads. I call it the world of online posting. But today, I'm going to focus on just the top 3 for you. So the current top 3 job sites are Indeed, ZipRecruiter, and LinkedIn. Here's a pro tip for you. To increase your candidate pool, consider posting your job sites in different sites. So maybe you want to open up a paid job site on an Indeed or a ZipRecruiter, but you also want to consider maybe some free sites like colleges or universities where they don't charge you to post your job, some trade schools, or maybe some specific organizations like SHRM is for human resources, FSPA is for us in the pool industry, AICPA is for anybody that's in the accounting industry. So those are additional resources where you can post your job online that may not necessarily cost anything, or if there is a cost, it's a lot smaller than it would be if you post an Indeed and ZipRecruiter. Things that you need to know. Every online job site is a little bit different. Most do offer a 30-day simple posting for first-time users. So if you've never used Indeed or a ZipRecruiter and it's the first time that you're going to create an account, you may be able to take advantage of their 30-day simple posting with no cost to you. Pricing is different. For example, Indeed will have you set a spending budget and charge you based on the number of resumes you review. Well, ZipRecruiter does it differently. They charge you by the number of postings that you have open. And LinkedIn charges you by the number of clicks or applicants that you receive. So you want to make sure that you're reviewing not only the terms of the length that you can post online, but how you're going to be paying for those applicants that are going to be coming through. Once your postings are up and applicants start to come in, it's time to review resumes. At the very least, you want to ensure that the minimum qualifications are met. You want to make sure that the experience that the person has on their resume or application is relevant. Are we talking apples to apples? Is it transferable skills? You want to look at years of experience. You want to look at, of course, their skill set. You want to look at if the industries that they have worked in is relevant to the industry that you may be in. And then, of course, you want to look at some of the warning signs as well. You want to look at breaks in service or job hopping. You want to look at reasons why a person may have left a job and whether or not you can contact previous employers. I will let you know that I am going to be covering interviewing do's and don'ts in part 2 of this series, and that date is going to be on May 10th at noon. So if you're interested in taking a deep dive in some interviewing do's and don'ts, please join me on May 10th at noon to go through those as well. Recruiting takes discipline. You have to take advantage of your investment. You have to look at your applicants daily. I cannot stress that enough. You need to call those applicants that you're interested in within 48 hours of receiving the application, and you need to set up interviews within the week. If you're not ready to start interviewing, then you are not ready to start recruiting. The job market is currently flooded with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of open positions. We are seeing those positions being open daily, and it's not just going to be yours. This is due to all those businesses that closed or downsized during COVID that are now reopening, rethinking business, and are trying to get back to full capacity. So let's think about it this way. If there are 5 companies looking for a similar skill set, meaning there's 5 companies out there looking for a driver, but there's only 3 driver candidates available, those driver candidates are going to be actively interviewing every day, every job. And you're risking not having them come into work for you if you're not looking at your applicants every single day, if you're not talking to them, if you're not giving them contact information and setting expectations as to how the hiring process is going to go. So as I said in the previous slide, if you are not ready to interview, you are not ready to recruit. It is 100% an applicant's market right now. That you are not the only company that they're interviewing with. You are not the only person that they're talking to. So you need to make sure that you are aggressively reaching out to them, that you're setting expectations to see them relatively quickly, and that you're making those interviews happen within 1 or 2 days of talking to those applicants. Here are some statistics for you of what happens when you don't take the time of recruiting properly and you make bad hiring decisions. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, the price of a bad hire is at least 30% of the employee's first year of earnings. That's a lot of money. But let's break it down so you understand some of the costs associated with every time that you hire somebody. An online ad is going to run you anywhere between $75 to $300, depending on which ones you choose and how many of them you're using. If you run a background check, the average right now is running about between $40 and $45 for a simple background check. If you're going to do an MVR that you're required to do for some CDL drivers, that usually runs you an additional $10. If you're doing pre-employment drug testing, an average, those run about $40. Let's talk about all of the training costs and training hours that it's going to take to onboard that person and make sure they're acclimated with your company. Think about your time, all the time that you spent going through resumes, talking to applicants, and going through the interview process. The productivity that is lost because you're focused on that, and then lost wages, taxes, and benefits. So every time we get it wrong, you're just restarting this process. So like I have at the bottom of this screen, getting it right is absolutely priceless. So taking the time in the front end to improve your chances of a successful hire will reduce turnover and the hardship that comes with cycling through employees. If you walk away with anything today, it's do not start recruiting until you're ready for interviewing. Make sure that you're aggressively looking at your applicants and your resumes, and that you have the discipline to talk to them within 48 hours of getting that application or resume, that you're bringing them into interview within 2 days, and that you're setting an expectation of what that hiring process is going to look like. Remember, they are actively interviewing. Chances are that while they're talking to you, there may be another job offer coming in. So you want to make sure that you are taking the time to do everything that you can to make sure that you're hiring the right person. So that's all the time that I have for this right now. I do want to open up the questions and answers portion of this presentation. So if there's any questions that you want to address with me personally or anything on what we talked about today, please go ahead and use the raise hands feature and we'll get through all of your questions.
Jenny, Kelly Cordon have a question, so coming through.
Okay. Yes, Kelly.
Is there a set number of like the maximum interviews you should put one candidate through before they lose interest or say this is too difficult for me to keep going through this company? Is there any recommendations as far as that goes?
So my recommendation is that you don't do it in multiple interviews. Again, because we have an applicant-driven market right now, I think it's best to get everybody in a room whose opinion matters. So if it's your opinion and you maybe want to get the opinion of another manager on your staff or somebody that's in that department, I would suggest both of you do the interview the same day. You can either do what we call a panel interview where you're both in a room taking turns asking questions, or you can do back-to-back interviews where they spend maybe 20 minutes with you and 20 minutes with that other person. But we are seeing that if we do it in different days, by the time you want to set up that second interview, that applicant may already have a job. So I always want to get somebody else's opinion when I'm hiring somebody. I usually want to get a team member involved that's in that team. And if that's not possible, then another supervisor or manager that can give you an opinion. But again, my best pro tip for you is to try to do it the same day, whether you go panel or you do back-to-back interviews with that applicant.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions for me?
It seems there's no more question, Jenny.
Okay. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining me today. And again, I welcome you to join me on May 10th at 12 o'clock when we're going to be talking about interviewing do's and don'ts. And thank you. Again, it's been a pleasure being able to help you and present this to you.